In this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to cut this stylish dress with a low back drop or cowl effect at the back of this dress. So for this dress, I'll be doing it in a miniature form. So to start, let's say I've gone ahead to mark out my basic measurement for this pattern, and here's the bust, here's the under bust, here's the waist, and here's the hip. For your hip, mark 7 inches to get your hip. For a taller person, use 8 inches. Now the lower part is the full length of my gown. Now what I'll do is to mark my shoulder divided by 2 here, and I'll come down by 1 inch. From this point, I'll go ahead to connect my shoulder slant. Next is to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I'll draw a straight line. That measurement you have on your shoulder, mark it on the chest line. But what I marked is not really straight. I'll just place my ruler to connect, since we are just using this for an illustration. Now what I'm going to do is to go ahead to place my tape, and I'll mark the midpoint and come in by ½ inch. I'll connect from here all the way to this midpoint. Then I'll just use that mark I have there as my bust circumference divided by 4. Now insert my measurement, which is my bust circumference divided by 4, and add a sewing allowance. Mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, add a sewing allowance. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4 plus a sewing allowance. Mark my hip circumference divided by 4 plus a sewing allowance, and I will take this all the way to the lower part. After marking this, I'll go ahead to place my ruler to connect from the bust, under bust, waist, hip, and gown length. So I'll use a slash and spread to achieve the lower part of this dress, which has like a flay. So from here, I'll come down by 4 inches, and after that I extended it up a bit. Let's say I'm using 3.5, and I connected to the armhole. Now I'll go ahead to cut that, but before cutting that, at this part of your pattern, add like a 2 inches dart, mark ½ inch on both sides, and connect. This is to reduce or remove gaping from this part of your pattern, and I will blend in and go ahead to cut this out. Now after I'm done cutting out, this is what I have. Now what I'll do is for the lower part of this dress to have that flay effect. So you're supposed to come down a little after your hip, but I marked directly on my hip. So after I was done drafting, that was when I realized that. Now I'll mark a line and open this. Now this cutting I'm doing is supposed to be few inches after the hip line. That is to add this flay to this dress at the lower part. Let's say you come down by 2 to 3 inches after the hip line. So this is more like to add like a flay effect at the lower part of this dress, if you don't want to cut out the flay directly. So I'll take the measurement I have here, which I marked round, and I connected back, and I'll go ahead to cut this out. Now after cutting this out, I'll just go ahead to use this pattern also to cut out the back pattern, and I'll blend this out. Remember to blend out the darts that you have at the neckline of this dress, and I'll go ahead to cut out the side of this pattern. So if you have any questions so far, please kindly go ahead to ask. Now this is what I have. I'll draft out the front. Now if you feel the flay is too much, please go ahead to reduce the flay. Now from here, I'll cut out the chest line of this pattern, mark the waist, the under bust, the waist of this pattern, and I'll go ahead to outline the bust area. Now at the back of this dress, you notice that there's an opening. Now from the actual pattern, we're going to connect this going down to the lower part of the dress, right? This is to make sure you have an opening there. So I'll go ahead to cut this out, right? After cutting this out, we'll now go ahead to create the cowl neck effect at the back of this dress, like to create that cowl effect. I'll go ahead to slash this, and I will open it up. Now what you're going to do is to go ahead to open it this way and place on another pattern, and you're going to trace. So after placing it on this pattern, now after placing this, what I'll do is to go ahead to trace out what I have. So I'm just going to go ahead to pin this down, and I'm going to trace this round. After tracing it round, I'll then go ahead to cut it out. Now this will be for the back pattern, right? So after cutting this, you now go ahead to attach it to the front. So after cutting this, what you do is at the front neckline, you're going to add a strap. Then at the back, you're going to cross it over, attaching it to the sides of the dress.